What's going on, Chill Army? Deondre and I've here, and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon Biology, the series where I go over the biology and origins of each and every Pokemon. This week, we'll be going over the biology of the Meowth line. Meowth, also known as Nyasu in Japanese, is a normal type Pokemon first seen in Generation 1. It was followed by a dark type variant in Generation 7 and a steel type variant in Generation 8. A Gigantamax variant of Cantonian Meowth is known as Gigantomax Meowth. The little bipedal Pokemon Meowth is a feline. On either side of its oval-shaped face are two cream whiskers, and there are two hairs standing up on either side of the golden coin on its forehead. The tail of Meowth is curled as well. Meowth's foot and tail are cream like the rest of its body, but the end of them is brown. On the underside of its heels and toes, it has tiny paw pads. It resembles a Maneki Neko, a Japanese-born doll famous for bobbing its arm and hand. Alolan Meowth has smaller, half-open eyes and is a pale blue-gray color. In the past, nobility used to breed it. They are favored because of how pampered, self-centered, and arrogant they are. Galarian Meowth has thicker fur, a grayish-brown tint, and a grin with pointed teeth. When it traveled with the Vikings in the past, its fur turned into iron. It engages in combat by raising its claws like daggers. Cantonian Meowth's initial shape has been deformed into Gigantamax Meowth. Its body lengthens considerably, its eyes turn yellow and lose their pupils, and a kanji for big appears on its coin. All forms of Meowth frequently prey on weaker Pokemon, demonstrating their carnivorous nature. It is more accurate to refer to them as omnivores because they occasionally eat fruits. Cantonian Meowth spends most of its time at night and frequently prowls the streets in search of change because, for some unknown reason, it is drawn to shiny, bright objects. To keep its forehead coin from getting dirty, it always washes its face. Meowth and Murkrow, who are both known for being equally fixated on glowing things, frequently engage in violent argumentation. Although it is prone to being seduced by coins and may make friends with those who do, its fickleness makes it unlikely that these relationships will persist. On good days, it will be happy to show its trainer a glimpse of its hoarded valuables. Meowth are widespread Pokemon that live and roam in cities. Some live near beaches or in forests. The majority are commonplace in Kanto and Johto, but rare in Sinnoh. Alolan Meowth is incredibly cunning, irrational, and prideful. When someone insults its intelligence or lowers its self-esteem, it will become quite hostile. Due to its breed having lived among royalty for ages, it is also incredibly finicky about food. However, it is well liked by trainers who value focusing on others over oneself. During combat, it typically repeatedly targets the blind spots of its adversaries. The Alolan Meowth were an imported species brought in for the royalty and were not native to Alola. As dynasties have crumbled, they have appeared more and more frequently in Alola. It frequently flaunts the dark coin on its head to others in its Galarian form, which is a warrior. The more respect a Meowth may gain from its kind, the darker and tougher it must be. It is incompatible with its Cantonian counterpart. These Meowth spent a large portion of their lives at sea, assisting their masters as they pillaged a helpless village close to rivers and beaches. These robbers took some of their loot back to their homes in the north and gave it to their Pokemon. Meowth are renowned for having razor-sharp claws that can viciously scratch opponents and leave behind a trail of scars. They can easily retract those claws so they can leave covertly. Meowth from Team Rocket is able to speak in the anime, a skill he learned while living on the street of Hollywood to impress a female Meowth named Meowsy. Meowth is modeled after the Maneki Neko, a Japanese yokai that was said to bring good fortune when it raised its paw. They are frequently utilized as charms in the form of toys or figurines that, when left at the entrance to a room or establishment, are supposed to bring enterprises luck or riches. Meowth's move Payday, which raises the amount of money gained after a battle, serves as a good example of this. Meowth also carries a koban, a gold coin from ancient Japan, sometimes found in the hands of Maneki Neko sculptures. Meowth was partially modeled on Satoshi Tajiri's pet cat, according to Junichi Masuda. The British Blue, a British short hair with blue-gray fur, served as the inspiration for its Alolan form. Its Galarian form may have roots in a Norwegian forest cat and features classic Viking characteristics. Its shiny coloring mimics that of its Kanto cousin. Its Gigantamax form could be interpreted as a reference to the long cat meme, the huge mutant cat from Monty Python's Flying Circus, a 1970 British comedy, which was built to fend against killer vehicles but eventually went rogue on its own, or Necro from Street Fighter 3. Meowth is a combination of meow and wealth. The Japanese onomatopoeia for meow, nya, is where the Japanese name Nyasu originates. Meowth's evolved form as of level 28 is Persian, whereas Meowth's Alolan form has maximum friendship. Persian looks like a big cat. It has a curled tail and beige-colored fur. On its forehead, there is a tiny red gemstone that is thought to give the Pokemon power. The Persian is named after the Persian cat breed, despite the fact that it has a cougar-like build and a yellowish-white coat. Perhaps it's an albino cougar? Another suggestion is that it is based on a Siamese cat, a breed of cat with beige coloring, black ears, and medium-sized whiskers, similar to Persian. Persian's Alolan form is a variation of its regular form that is primarily light blue-gray in hue. Its hilariously large spherical head, which is abnormally large compared to its smaller body, is its most distinctive feature though. It has wide round ears, thin half-closed eyes, and a blue gem on its head. Despite being highly charming and elegant, this Pokemon is not the best pet, especially for inexperienced trainers. The reason for this is that Persian are notorious for having unpredictable temperaments and for having the ability to turn vicious in an instant. For example, a Persian may be contentedly purring and rubbing its head against its trainer's hand while being petted, but the very next moment, it may unfurl its claws and scratch the hand that was doing the petting. It indicates that it is prepared to pounce and attack by raising its tail straight. The Alolan variety of this Pokemon is considerably harder to care for because the royal families of old Alola spoiled it. The Alolan variety of this Pokemon is considerably harder to care for because the royal families of old Alola spoiled it, making them far less docile to trainers. Despite this, it has the potential to be a great combatant, but only when using shady strategies like blindsiding and sucker punching. It will also viciously torment its vanquished enemies, albeit occasionally it is beaten by opponents' counterattacks due to underestimating them. Persian can frequently be seen on roadways around cities and towns. It is more difficult and unusual to see a wild Persian. Persian is derived from big cats like Siamese and pumas. Its link with elegance and nobility may stem from the ancient Egyptian practice of cat worship. Alolan Persian shares traits with both its ancestor breed and the British short-hair British Blue variation. Its huge, fat head and flat face may be the result of genetic abnormalities brought on by purebred cats being bred for certain qualities, as well as the propensity of spoiled indoor cats to gain weight. Persian gets its name from, well, Persian, which is a breed of a fancy cat. Galarian Meowth evolves into Berserker at level 28. Berserker looks similar to its pre-evolutionary form, but its face has undergone a significant transformation. Similar to typical representations of a Viking helmet, its ears have been transformed into horns with silver tips, which, fun fact, Viking helmets never had horns on their helmets. Yeah. That's just a thing that they show in media. Its body has gone brown, while the gold coin on its head has faded to gray, and its face's fur has turned black. It has a scary smile and 2 little horns on its head. It also has 2 crimson eyes that are partially closed. It still has the pre-evolutionary beard. Black armbands just barely covering its arms. Its claws have a dagger-like extension. Shiny Berserker's silver colorings have been altered to have a more golden consistency. White also appears on the sclera. The raucous and brutal Berserker is always eager to fight and seems to take great pleasure in destroying their helpless adversaries. After numerous battles, the claws of Berserker have hardened and they always wield them as daggers. Berserker undergo trance-like states during combat where they become blind to pain, mercy, and even their trainer's commands. They always have a low opinion of their Persian counterparts. Berserker is modeled after a cat and the archetypal Viking. Although it is not immediately apparent from their typing, the Nordic inspiration may also be derived from the Norwegian forest cat, sometimes known as a fairy cat, which the Vikings kept as pets and which was rumored to have towed the sleighs of the Norse goddess Freya. Their actions resemble those of berserkers, who were Norse warriors who attempted to drive themselves insane prior to a battle by fighting like wild beasts. Its broad grin may have been influenced by the Cheshire Cat, which is well known for its teeth-gritting evil grin. It's possible that Berserker's classification as a steel type alludes to crucible steel, a metal that Vikings frequently employed. The words purr, which is the sound a cat makes, Persian, which is a breed of cat famed for its long hair and the name of the evolution of the Cantonian and Alolan Meowth, and Berserker are combined to form the word Perrseker. And that is going to conclude this week's episode of Pokemon Biology. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. If you guys did, be sure to accidentally click that like button, as it really helps YouTubers like me, get pushed out to the YouTube algorithm, gets more people to watch our videos and stuff like that. Also, if you're brand new, be sure to subscribe and click that bell icon. It's 100% free. And be sure to check out all of my other content. I make tons of Pokemon content, almost 3 to 4 times a week. So almost every single day. So be sure to check me out. But until then, I love you all and I'll see you guys on the next video. Only good, Show Army.